Hey guys, it's me, Kayla with the Curls. Today is Thursday, March the 17th, and you are watching The Wind Down. I'm Kayla. I help women to create lives of peace and prosperity through skincare, self-care, and inspiration. And each week I promise you that I'll give you at least one live segment that's a coaching or a training with some life strategies or ideas that you can apply right away. And tonight we're talking about feel so you can heal. Fact of the matter is, you just simply cannot heal from something until you acknowledge that it actually hurt you. If you're watching while I'm live, say, hey Kayla, I'm live, so I know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, you know what to do, hashtag replay. And since I'm uploading all of these to my YouTube now, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you never miss a thing. Because I don't like to waste your time, let's hop right into it. So, at least at some point in life, all of us have been hurt. And whether it was a romantic relationship, a platonic relationship, meaning like between just friends, or familial with a relative, a mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, somebody, you had some sort of falling out or something happened where you were literally heartbroken. It just kind of ripped you to shreds. We've all had those situations. Like, that is literally a part of life. However, most of the time when those things happen, especially in romantic relationships, what we like to say is, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm gonna boss up, I'm gonna make some money, I'm gonna get in my bag, I'm gonna go back to school. You start saying all of these things. It wasn't that serious, it wasn't that deep. So essentially you just fail to acknowledge that the thing was significant or impactful or that it hurt you. And so my first word of advice to you is stop pretending like you're okay. Like, it is okay to not be okay. I think that that's a really big deal because we live in a society where it's like girl power, woman up, independent, I gotta have my crap together. And the reality of stuff is that if you never fall apart, you don't understand exactly what it is like to be put together. So first things first, stop pretending like you're okay. What happens is you send your brain, like your mouth says, I'm fine, but your brain is clearly ruminating and going over the events in your mind over and over and over. So you put yourself in direct conflict with yourself. So all of that stuff of being triggered, you're triggering yourself because you're pretending like you're okay, but mentally it's just turmoil. And so what happens is, we tend to stick in those thoughts and stay in those thoughts for so long that we move from the incident that actually happened to us and we become consumed within ourselves. Like, what's wrong with me? This really wasn't that big of a deal. Why can't I move past this? Why can't I get over it? We've all said this at some point. Why am I not good enough? Why wasn't I enough? What was it about me that didn't make him stay? Or what was it about me that didn't make him commit? What was it about me that didn't make her feel like I'm a friend that's worth saving a friendship with? And so I know that you've had these thoughts because I've had these thoughts. Like, I think the more that we normalize it and be like, hey, other people have felt that way too, the more that we can acknowledge that, hey, this is something we need to do collectively to just be better as a whole. So once you get past that point, we have two things that happen, right? I used to teach this self-defense class, and the two things that trigger emotion in someone, anger and fear, right? It triggers a response, I'm sorry. Anger and fear. Anger and fear. The other thing with that is being hurt. So with anger or fear, there's usually two things that happen: a physiological response, fight or flight. Now we also have freeze out there, but freeze is in some components like a part of flight, right? Like, you freeze, you don't know what to do, so you freeze. So flight in this sense is running, but it's not a physical run. This is where you see people that are like, I'm gonna go back and get a new degree. I'm going to throw myself into a new fad diet. I'm gonna launch 512 businesses. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm going to just take on some huge physical exertion. I'm gonna run a half marathon. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it's like, wait a minute. What are you doing? And it's not that these things aren't great, because I do feel like distracting yourself and getting up and moving around is way better than just laying in the bed and wailing, oh God, right? So I do feel like moving is a good thing. However, what happens when you do nothing to like do anything toward the work, for making yourself better, is you make this accomplishment, you get this degree, you have a successful business, you lose this ton of weight, and then you still feel empty. You still feel void. You start a new relationship and you're like, whoo, this is the love of my life. I'm over the moon. I'm so glad that that last guy is not in my life anymore. And then like you achieve this thing and you're still not happy. And that's because the wholeness is inside of you. That need for completion is inside of you. You can't find that outside of yourself. And so you have to do the work. This is why you see the post where the girl who says that, she has 5 different worlds within a year. It's like, man, that girl's got a solar system. And I always say, well, be careful before you make fun of her, because the relationship that you're in, are you actually happy? Or is this a 5, 10, 15 year string out because you're too afraid to leave your comfort zone for let go of what you actually have to get what you want, right? I know I stepped on some toes. I've stepped on my own toes multiple times already, right? So that's the flight part. The flight is just throwing yourself into everything mindlessly, not caring for yourself, not doing the work, not taking time to slow down, no self-care days, just going. Why? Because I'm going to boss up and I'm going to show them. They're going to miss me. They're going to look for me and everyone. That kind of attitude. In this instance, fight means doing the work. It means going to therapy. It means acknowledging your portion and what could have been done differently on your behalf and accepting that this is not the reality anymore, but you're okay. It means having those nights where you are crying, where you are sad, where you are upset, and figuring out something to do with that pain, a motivation. So maybe that means you join the gym and you get a personal trainer and you start a health journey, and it's like, I want to be better for myself. You know what? I'm going to be the very best version of whoever I become. It's going to be the very best version of whoever or of myself, my very next version. I don't know why I'm saying that a million times. I'll stop now. It might look like going to therapy or going to counseling. And that could be pastoral counseling or therapy with an actual therapist. It could be going on a spiritual journey and really deep diving in and finding out more about your connection and oneness with the earth. There are so many ways. No one way or other way is the right way. You have to determine what that is for you. And it could be a combination of things, right? But the important thing is that you take the time to slow down and do the work. Because if you don't do the work, you will mindlessly find yourself in the same situation over and over and over again because you're trying to solve the same problems to prove to yourself that you can do it. So do yourself a favor, take some time to feel so that you can heal. Identify the source of your triggers and then start to eradicate them. Start to solve those problems, start to work through them. I strongly suggest therapy. I always say every therapist needs a therapist, every social worker needs a social worker. You need somebody that you can bounce ideas off that's unbiased and who is trained professionally, not just your friend. Like you can have a friend, but someone who is trained professionally to help guide you. Therapists don't tell you what to do. They don't. They don't tell you what to do. They'll completely let you create your own solutions as long as they're not anything that's a danger to yourself or someone else. They completely let you make those decisions. However, they're taught to teach you to look internally and to reflect over the best decision that you can make for yourself. So I always say that. Healing doesn't mean that you won't have pain anymore. I've heard patients say to me, and I've heard people say to me, well, if it doesn't hurt anymore, then that means it never happened. And they're afraid to let go of that pain. They're afraid to let go of whatever feeling it is, because that means it was real. There's still pain in healing. It's just a different kind of healing. That's the kind of pain that moves you forward. It makes you a better person, and it makes you better able to withstand whatever test or trial comes forward after that. So I love you guys. I don't want to get on here and ramble, but I do want you to take some time out to think about things that have been traumatic for you. And I say that all of that to say this: if you do not take the time to heal yourself and you do not take the time to acknowledge those things, they will take the time to pop up on themselves. So you'll start being angry. You'll start being snappy. I didn't need this, or I didn't want your help. I didn't ask you for that. You always do this. And it's like, none of that stuff is necessarily true. It just comes from bedding down and just packing down and covering up. Like a soda can. If you shake up a soda can, you wouldn't open it right away. But some unknowing person just comes by and they say something to you, and they're not triggering you. You're triggering yourself because you won't face it. So they say something and then you explode on them. If you don't heal, you continue to bleed on people who didn't cut you. When you don't heal, you continue to bleed on people who didn't cut you. I love you guys so very much. I appreciate when you watch the wind down. My inbox is always open, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a great night, and happy St. Patrick's Day.